Some actors and celebrities just want to be famous, but when it comes time to do the actual work, all they do is complain. Because believe it or not, acting is not an easy task. It's often 12-hour days away from your family and friends, you're isolated on set from everyone else, you have to memorize lines every single day, and do all that while a director yells stuff at you. If you can suffer through all that though and deliver a great performance, you will most definitely be on top in Hollywood very fast. Although not every celebrity is a fan of what led to their big break. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I'm your host Johnny Rogers, and before we kick this video off, if you want to see more videos about what your favorite celebrities have been up to lately, just tap that playlist in the corner of your screen. Also, if you don't want to miss another daily video from us, make sure you tap that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Now without any further delay, let's get right into today's list of the top 10 celebrities who regret their big break. In at number 10, Carrie Fisher. When Carrie Fisher took on the role as Princess Leia, she was admittedly an insecure 19-year-old that had no idea she was stepping into a film that would define her career. While appearing on the Today Show with Matt Lauer, Carrie opened up about her regrets. Apparently, if she had known just how famous she would have become for playing Princess Leia, she would have never done the film. In 2015, when Time magazine asked her why she decided to return for Star Wars The Force Awakens, Carrie bluntly replied that it's difficult to get work after turning 30 for women in Hollywood. In addition to the role making her too famous, Carrie Fisher also said that she felt very alone while working on the film. When her book called The Princess Diarist came out, many were shocked to discover that Carrie had been having an affair with Harrison Ford. Due to Harrison being married, she couldn't confide in anyone, and overall her lack of friends on set made things especially difficult. So it's no wonder that she had some traumatic memories of her big break. In at number 9, Sean Connery. Without question, Sean Connery's big break was all attributed to the 007 franchise. He starred in a total of 7 Bond films and starred as the first ever Bond in the 1962 film titled Dr. No. Initially, his big break regrets were that he didn't really feel like he was being paid enough to star in that series. However, by the time that he had reached his 6th appearance as Bond in Diamonds Are Forever, he was mostly just sick and tired of the character. When Sean sat down with The Guardian to talk about his time as James Bond, he spoke very openly about how he felt. He said flat out that he has always hated that damn James Bond, and even adding that he would like to kill him, which is a very hostile way to view what is meant to be your big break, but it also speaks to a larger issue in Hollywood. The way in which movies work just seems to severely deplete the energy of a lot of celebrities. Sean though found a great way to make amends with his regrets about playing James Bond. Instead of taking all the money that he got for those roles, he began donating his Bond salaries to charity. Very un-Bond-like of him, but very Sean Connery. In at number 8, Megan Fox. When Megan Fox first appeared in the Michael Bay film, the actress basically became a sex symbol overnight, which can definitely be attributed to director Michael Bay, who has a long track record of creating films geared towards a more male audience. Megan has retracted a lot of her previous comments about Mr. Bay, but it's still worth going over. She claimed that he acts like Napoleon on his sets to create this insane, infamous madman reputation, adding that he wants to almost be like Hitler on his sets, and he is. Many people even refer to his sets as Bayham and back the claims that he is a nightmare to work for. At the time of her controversial claims, Fox was just becoming a rising star and relatively inexperienced when it came to handling the media. So this one is really 2 regrets about her big break. She does still regret doing that first Transformers, but Megan also regretted not directly speaking to Michael Bay and instead blasting him in the press. In at number 7, Robert Pattinson. Only fans of Harry Potter will believe that Robert's true big break came from his guest appearance in The Goblet of Fire, but that being said, it was still Twilight that lifted him to superstar status. As great as he did in that film, Pattinson truly hated his role as Edward Cullen in the Twilight film series. During an interview he did in 2008, Robert said that while he was reading the book, Edward Cullen seemed to be the most ridiculous person who is somehow amazing at everything. He said that a lot of actors tried to play to that aspect, but he just couldn't do it. When Robert read through the whole series prior to filming, he really started to hate Edward, so that's exactly how he played him. He played him as a manic depressive who hates himself. Plus, Edward Cullen is a 108-year-old virgin, so there were definitely some issues with that. He also spoke about the author Stephenie Meyer and said that he felt like she had convinced herself that she was the fictional character Bella, adding that it felt like a book about someone's fantasies that shouldn't have ever been published. In at number 6, Sharon Stone. The movie that lifted Sharon Stone to celebrity status was most definitely her iconic appearance in the film Basic Instinct. The story follows Detective Nick Curran, who was investigating the murder of a retired rock star that was stabbed to death with an ice pick by a mysterious blonde woman. Before the film was even released, it was generating controversy due to its overt sexuality and graphic depictions of violence. All of Sharon Stone's regrets about her big break though have nothing to do with being too famous or not liking her performance even. Her biggest regret was working with Dutch filmmaker Paul Verhoeven. During an interview she did in 2006, Sharon alleged that a scene in which her vulva was exposed as she crossed her legs was filmed without her knowledge. Then, to up the creep factor while filming, Paul apparently told her to hand him her underpants before filming that famous leg crossing scene. Apparently the interrogation scene wasn't even in the original script. The idea for that came to Paul when he was at a party and witnessed a woman wearing no underwear. If they had to remake Basic Instinct scene for scene today, it would never be allowed to get made. In at number 5. Daniel Radcliffe. For those of you who are waiting and wishing that Daniel Radcliffe would come back to reprise Harry Potter, I wouldn't hold your breath. Daniel has frequently been quoted saying that he feels most comfortable on the sets of his latest projects. Daniel also said that there was never a point where he wished he wasn't Harry Potter, although his instantaneous fame led to him seeking refuge in alcohol. His main reasoning for staying clear of the Harry Potter world, which includes Fantastic Beasts, mainly stems from him not wanting to get locked into another series. That has to get a little exhausting at some points, just knowing that even if you hate the gig, you're locked into several other films. Luckily for Radcliffe, he's been able to build his resume with many different types of roles, and he's even dabbled with voiceovers and Broadway plays. In at number 4, Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet was born in England in 1975 to a family of actors, so from a very young age she always knew that she wanted to pursue a career in acting. When she was just a teenager, she began acting in commercials and appearing in various stage productions. However, in 1997, Winslet landed her biggest film to date, the massive blockbuster known as Titanic. This movie sent her fame and Hollywood status into the stratosphere for many years to come. Now, since Titanic, Kate has gone on to do some very big projects, but no matter where she goes, Titanic seems to follow her. After her infamous nude scene in the film, Kate said that she became less and less thrilled with the association. She has even said that while she is frequently asked to autograph copies of the nude photos, she refuses to do it because of how uncomfortable that scene still makes her feel. In at number 3, Matt Damon. This regret about a big break is much different from the rest of these. Matt Damon's break truly came by way of the Bourne Ultimatum franchise. However, when the offer was on the table to do these films, he had also received an offer from filmmaker James Cameron. When James was preparing for Avatar, he offered the role of the disabled former Marine Jake Sully to Matt. Unfortunately for Matt Damon, he believed that this would cause problems for director Paul Greengrass and the Bourne Ultimatum series, so he reluctantly declined and moved forward with that. Avatar, though, ended up earning $2.79 billion at the global box office, and here's where Matt's regrets start coming in. He said that in the initial offer that was given to him by James Cameron, he would have received 10% of the film's profits, which means he lost out on roughly $250 million. Back in 2007, Forbes reported that Damon was paid about $26 million for the Bourne Ultimatum, which apparently was a bargain for Universal. So, I think Universal won on that deal. In at number 2, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's big breakout role was the film Daredevil back in 2003, but his performance in that film is also why so many people were reluctant about him taking the Batman mantle from Christian Bale. Also, don't feel bad if you hated Daredevil, because Ben Affleck hates it too. Movie and pop culture website called Latino Review actually got their hands on the interview with Ben where he speaks about his biggest career mistakes. During the interview, he said, "The only movie I actually regret is Daredevil. It just kills me. I love that story, that character, and the fact that it got fucked up the way it did stays with me. Maybe that's part of the motivation to do Batman." Ben also went on to say that if he thought there would be another Daredevil movie, he would be out picketing against it himself. As he laughed off that comment, he also said that why would he make a movie if he didn't think that it was going to be good and that he could be good in it. That is often a downfall of a newer actor that are just coming up. They get excited about a certain project or maybe the character, but they fail to analyze whether or not the production side of things will be just as spectacular. Last but certainly not least, our number 1 spot, Harrison Ford. Well, we started with a Star Wars legend, so it's only right that we end with one. After his first ever credited screen role in the 1967 film A Time for Killing, Harrison got the break of a lifetime when he was cast as Han Solo. Although fast forward to the early 1980s when George Lucas was making Return of the Jedi, and Ford began to have some regrets about the character. He told Star Pulse, "I did think the character itself was relatively thin. I would have liked to see some complications for the character. The only complication I didn't get was to die at the end of the third one. I thought that would have given the whole film a bottom, but I couldn't talk George into it." Harrison really wanted Lucas to kill off the character just because of how sick he was of playing Solo. During another interview he did in 1983, Ford told the interviewer that 3 films was enough for him and that he was glad to see that costume for the last time. Regardless though, he did return to play Han Solo in the 2015 film called Star Wars The Force Awakens. At least this time around he was able to fulfill that death wish for that character. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Celebrities Who Battled Secret Illnesses. Sophia says, "Johnny Rogers is my favorite host, except for Lucy of course." Well, I can't argue with that comment. We love Lucy too, and I'm honored to be one of your faves. Thanks for sharing this list. I have lupus and I have endometriosis, which was so severe I had to have a complete hysterectomy when I was 34. It helps to know people you admire have had some of the same struggles as you. You know what, stay strong, Sandra. I'm happy that we could provide you with some examples of people you admire that are going through similar tough situations. It definitely makes us all feel a little less alone when that happens. Jennifer says, "What a great list and content, Johnny. You always present with class." Thank you, Jennifer. I do my best to tread lightly with this tougher material to cover, but I'm glad you liked it. The Shade says, "Problems are with everyone. It is on us to become the victim or overcome the situation and become successful." I love this. I know you quoted yourself on it, but it's a great perspective to have when faced with adversity. Be that medical or otherwise. K Smith says, you did good pronouncing those long medical words. They are hard. Thank you so much, Kay. I appreciate that. Long medical words are at times difficult to pronounce, but I'm doing my best. I'm not a medical expert. And that's been the top 10 celebrities who regret their big breaks. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our editors for all of their hard work. If you enjoyed this video, then please show us some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, as always, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on today's list. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is tap that playlist when it pops up. From top 10 beyond the screen, my name is Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy.